Have you had an NDE? Maybe more than one? Let me tell you a story about one of the times I died. Sometime, if you give me permission, you want to hear it. I mean, if you're not going to listen, no sense in my flapping my jaws, right? So ask me sometime if you care. NDEs. What are NDEs? Near death experiences. Have you had a near death experience? You're not going to surprise me with that, but I would like to hear your experiences. Um, yeah, one time there was a period of time, like 2 years or so. It seemed like everybody, I mean, everybody I met had an NDE story. What's up with that? I don't know. I even knew a guy that wanted to have coffee with me, and we kind of became friends. He claims he had NDE 4 times. He had some problems with a valve in his heart or something, but he'd still like bike like 15 miles a day, which drove his wife nuts. By the way, she's a legitimate shaman. Um, Yeah, I don't know if he's still alive even, but anyhow, not only had he had multiple times done NDEs, he had published a book. Don't ask me what it was named. It wasn't very well branded or keyword SEO type stuff. Um, so I doubt people found it very much. But he interviewed like 40 or 50 people that had had NDEs, and that's what the book was about, interviews with these people. So cool, huh? We could do that. I mean, these people I've met in the past, they're on a list somewhere in my mind. So yeah, well, I would love to meet his wife, and if she's a widow, my kind of woman. But if not, maybe they would like to partner up and be part of this Unicorn Mint LLC or Green Terra Mer LLC. Again, Green Terra Mer is more the umbrella company that owns Unicorn Mint LLC. But our focus and thrust right now is Unicorn Mint. But even if people don't fit or want to stay within Unicorn Mint as we go down the line, starting up LLCs and businesses, they don't have to. Brass Ring Games, you want to develop games? Maybe you'll actually end up working more for Brass Ring Games LLC. All kinds of potential, all kinds of opportunity. I talked to a lady today that indicated interest, or I guess it was her daughter, which is also a potential candidate, but interested in moving to Washington State, and I'm all for that. I don't have a lot of helpers and workers locally, and if people want to migrate here, there's no place in the world I would rather live. And if working partners want to migrate here, we'll help with that. Um, but she's got a husband who's got a good job, he thinks, and doesn't want to disrupt that, and that's what he's doing, and therefore she's stuck in Florida. I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of respect for Florida. Sorry, please, thank you. It's just I know too much. Okay, I don't know it all, but I know too much. So, yeah, we've had trouble over the last 20, 30 years, noticeably from people from Florida. Go figure. So anyhow, where I'm going with this is that's okay. He doesn't have to move up here to work for us. I mean, the world is our oyster, so to speak. I mean, we're IoT. We live in the cloud. You can, as long as you've got internet, you can work. Now, and so over that time, so now what that can do is proof of concept for that couple. She can and her daughter maybe can start working for a Unicorn Mint and start finding out I'm serious about this $1 million in 2 years. And maybe for $1 million, her husband will change his tune. And he can be a working partner, maybe, assuming he's compassionate, empathic, a people. If he's a people, and maybe working on, or, or more so what I had thought, because we're the workers and the owners and we treat ourselves good. I expect us to have hot tubs, and I hadn't thought about swimming pools, but sure, why not? In fact, now I'm reminded of a place. It was going for 6 million at the time. Now I have no idea what it would be now. Might even be some arbitrage, especially owner will carry opportunities. But on Lake Chelan, which is in the middle of Fidalgo Island here, some wealthy couple. Oh man. If you're compassionate and you're the kind of compassionate that's actually you're talking about empathy, don't let me tell you the story. It's just way too sad. But they had this place, I don't know how many acres, but it goes from the road on down to the shores of not Chelan. Lake Chelan I love too, but not Lake Chapman, Lake Campbell. Lake Campbell, Campbell Lake, and interchangeable. Beautiful area. Fidalgo Island is a treasure, just a pure treasure. And anyhow, they built this place, and I guess the lady was like an Olympic class swimmer. And not only, other than a really cool house that I think we could use as a group home or a headquarters, maybe a daycare center for autistics and special needs. And it comes with a little mother-in-law apartment building that I checked out that I could live in just as that, you know. So maybe the property manager or something could live in that and manage the property, which like I said, is I don't know, 4,000, 6,000, wonderful amount of square footage and views. Because we also, you have Lake Campbell, and then behind it would be Mount Erie, which is our mountain. It's not the only mountain we have in Fidalgo Island, but it's the feature that has like the radar towers and all that stuff on it. And I think Kiwanis is supposed to be responsible for managing the park that's on top there. And unfortunately, no. We're empaths. We don't want to think about those really sad tragedies. But it has its story. It has a plaque up there, in fact, to tell you about it if you're interested. Suffice to say, people have died. Anyhow, back to this property that I would love to own, and I would look at if we had like 6 million around to spend on such things. And again, the purchase of it could be tokenized such that people can have fractional ownership, not enough to do anything, but enough that they can feel proud about themselves that they own the special needs daycare center, and they've helped make it happen. And if it ever did get sold or whatever, I guess they could make a profit. So there's always that. But it had a beautiful building, and it's got a tennis court. And oh yeah, that's right. Down in the first floor, and it's not kind of like on a slope, but for the first floor, there's an Olympic grade swimming pool. How cool is that? Would you love to own an Olympic grade swimming pool? Now this is what I'm talking. And never. Okay, there's a bunch of other acreage and goes down, and there's a dock, and so you can go out boating and all that kind of stuff. Um, would you love to own an Olympic grade swimming pool? Do you swim? See, this is what I'm talking about assets and stuff. Um, and this is what I mean by millionaire life. You may not totally own the swimming pool. You may not be able to sell it to your friend and say, "Oh, I decided to cash out because I wanted the money." I'm not talking about that. Open up your mind, let it go. But you'd certainly be able to use it. You work in Anacortes and you're done with your day and you want to go do your swimming routine. And so you come down to Lake Campbell headquarters and do it. Millionaire life. You don't need to own it to enjoy it, do you? Why do you go to the community swimming pool? You know, you don't have to own it. You just have to have permission to use it, right? So this is where we're going as we make more money than we know what to do with. Oh, you don't believe that? Let me tell you the story about Wizards of the Coast sometime. They hit it, and within like 2 years, they had more millions rolling in than they ever anticipated. You know what they did with it? Do you remember Dungeons and Dragons? TSR? TSR in the late 80s got into trouble with a partnership with one of the um, Walden's Books or Bookbusters or whatever, one of the big mall chain book things. Well, as bookstores and malls suffered, the deal didn't pan out the way they had agreed to, and TSR was in danger of bankruptcy. Now here, these little babies in the entrepreneurial world were making millions. They bought out TSR. Wizard of the Coast now owns the Dungeon and Dragons franchise and has worked it along with Magic the Gathering since then. I give them credit. They're since what we're talking early 90s. So what does that put us at? 20, 30, yeah, like 30 years ago. And they're still working it. They still want part of their model is they put out a new version of Magic the Gathering at least every year. So you have like Magic the Gathering 2014, Magic the Gathering 2015. And they've been doing this for since around 92 or so, 92, 93. You know, I'm getting to realize more and more personal history. An awful lot happened to me in the early 90s there. Cool. But it's another case study of game development. Again, all the billionaire ideas, or most of them, of the last 50 years, I intend to work them. How can we not make money? I mean, if we do not succeed in making these millions, there's something seriously wrong. And possibly it's you know, because I'm telling you right now, believe it, somebody or somebody's is going to make a fortune on this stuff. Why not us? You know who these people are? You know where all this stuff comes from? I was hoping you could tell me. Um, Somebody who's willing to do it, a willingness to learn how to do it, and a willingness to do it. That's all it takes.